director, and our
Is that okay? So I
yeah, that's great. That's great. And our mission there is to support individuals living with HIV/AIDS and prevent new HIV infections. And we take a really broad view of what it means to prevent HIV infections and have a lot of programs set up to meet people where they are, to look holistically at their health and their social determinants of health, and really kind of, help. It's not what you would expect, I guess. So we're doing like housing and dental care and street-based outreach and some other programs that I'll go through with you now. So we serve most of Oregon except for the Portland metro area. And if you see these little logos here, that's where we have offices. So our biggest office is here in Lane County in West Eugene on City View Street. We have an office in Roseburg, in Medford. We have a tiny little office that's just opening in Coos Bay. We have an office in Salem, and we're doing client care, we're doing prevention, we're doing dental care coordination, we're doing behavioral health. Here in Lane County, we just opened a clinic and we're doing primary care for folks. We help with employment, we help with housing, we help with pharmaceutical care. And so we're really doing a lot of care coordination for people living with HIV/AIDS, but also people living for Hep C, and communities that are at higher risk for contracting either one. Before I go further, I'm going to set the timer on my phone as I said I would do. Okay. So 1 in 7 people living with HIV are unaware of their infection, and that's really important to know. The CDC recommends that everyone, regardless of your kind of risk factors, get tested for HIV at least once. So nationally, there are over 1.1 million people living with HIV. There are 37,800 new diagnoses in 2018, and more than 50% of new infections are in 48 counties, which tells you, how kind of shows how those risk factors really manifest themselves to specific populations in specific parts of the country. And heterosexual people account for 24% of HIV diagnoses. In Oregon, there are 7,600 people plus living with HIV. 1,200 of those don't know their status in the state. 80% of those are male, 12% are female, and obviously injection drug use increases the risk, especially since 2013. And one thing we've really seen at HIV Alliance, especially in the last 5 years, is kind of a steady increase in the number of people who are injecting drugs. And which is in turn increasing HIV rates and kind of reversing some years of gains in that area. So this kind of goes into new infections. African Americans, Black people are at a much higher risk, as are Latinos, but a 5 times higher risk for Black people living in Oregon. I mean, that's incredible, the disparity there, the disparity we try to address. You can see kind of some information on late diagnoses and, lower survivability. Males who inject drugs have 10 years lower survival rate. Rural residents, which we serve, most of rural Oregon, have a much lower survival probability, as well as those who are infected with hepatitis C or B. So 6 of 10 Oregonians have never been tested for HIV, and that should really be 10 of 10 Oregonians have been tested for HIV, because again, I really want to emphasize this, everyone should be tested at least once. And from 2011 to 15, there were 237 new HIV diagnoses every year. And again, that number is going up. So what do we do about it? We have client services that support individuals living with HIV. We have behavioral health and primary care. So we have clinicians who are providing counseling and nurse practitioner providing primary care here in Lane County. We do supportive housing, both supporting people, with funding to stay in the housing that they're in, as well as actually paying for people's rent and getting people housing and working with Homes for Good to straight up house people. We do prevention and education. So we have positive speakers who go into the schools. We have a health-focused street outreach team, and that's a newer team of ours that is going around with a nurse practitioner to the camps around Eugene and is providing, testing, is providing basic needs supplies, is providing tents and sleeping bags and dog food, and really trying to help support these folks and prevent them from, contracting HIV or hepatitis C especially. So the services we offer to clients, we do care coordination. So for their housing, for emergency financial assistance, we work with their nursing case management, we coordinate their medication and pharmaceutical support. We provide employment services, which includes like application assistance and really finding, helping them find jobs. We do dental navigation. We have support groups, we have peer support, and we do hepatitis C case management as well. The behavioral health serves Lane, Josephine, and Douglas countings, and we have clinicians providing counseling for folks who are either HIV positive or from communities that are higher risk. So we really focus on LGBTQ communities and BIPOC communities, although our services are open to everyone. We have the Eugene Clinic where the primary care service is happening, and we're working with the Oregon Hope to participate in a study with OHSU to provide peer recovery service to people who inject drugs in rural communities. And we're the only HIV/AIDS organization in Oregon working in rural communities. So 50% of people living with HIV experience housing instability, which is a huge number. And multiple studies have shown that stronger predictor of people living with HIV than gender, than race, than age, than drug use, and mental health is housing. So that's the biggest determinant of, and that's why we have the health focused street outreach team. We try to address behavioral health and substance use issues. And we really, we operate from a place of non-judgment and really meet people where they are. We have no preconditions for our services, and we try to help people, meet the outcomes that they want for themselves. So we're not trying to force anything on anyone or make people behave a certain way. That's why we do needle exchange. That's why we provide naloxone kits. That's why we provide fentanyl test strips. And we do that for free weekly around the state of Oregon for anybody who needs it. And we don't ask questions or judge folks. We try to just make folks safe and try to prevent the spread of HIV and hepatitis C. So I kind of just talked about this. I gave myself away there. So we do community outreach, testing, syringe services, PrEP navigation. And so PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. It's a pill you can take you can take it daily, although just out is a new pill that you can take monthly to prevent you from getting HIV. It makes it almost impossible for you to prevent it. And one thing I want to emphasize too about medication is folks who are on medication, who are undetectable HIV levels, they cannot transmit HIV either. So you can be HIV positive and be completely undetectable. Your body will respond negatively to an HIV test, and you can't transmit it. So the drugs have come a really long way. The thing that has not changed though is the cost of those drugs. They're still very, very expensive. We have a really great education program where we go into schools around the state of Oregon. 50% of youth do not know that they are HIV infected for those that are, and youth are least likely of any age group to be linked to care, to be prescribed medication, and to have a suppressed viral load. Only 16%. Of our clients, we see about 92% have a suppressed viral load. So we talked about 8,000 youth a year. We have pause speakers. We do kind of HIV 101, HCV 101, and we serve at-risk populations and treatment programs, community court, community service agencies, and other youth organizations. And if you look at the results of those programs, so going into our, we give people quizzes, the students quizzes, like, what do you know about sex sort of things? 30% did not pass or passed pre our class, 85% passes afterwards. Even adult trainings, only 50% of adults are kind of aware of HIV 101, which is in the slide deck, but I'm not going to get to tonight, maybe another time, or a workshop at FAIR. But 91% of adults who come out of these trainings are able to pass the tests with accurate knowledge. So syringe exchange is important, and we do that at several locations around Eugene, both for people who inject drugs as well as for trans folks. And we do have like trans specific needle exchanges in case they don't feel comfortable and they might not want to be outed. We also give out like naloxone kits, as I said, and I would really recommend you just stopping by the Alliance or one of our needle exchanges and picking up one of these. With overdoses are skyrocketing, and it's just great to have this on you. If you see somebody, you're able to help them, and they're free. We give them out for free, and fentanyl strips too. So there's my time. So I'll stop here. But there is fentanyl in all the drugs now, and even in the drugs you would not expect. So we give out these strips to help people detect so they don't OD. And, you know, overdoses are skyrocketing right now. It's like really out of control. And that's here in Oregon and nationally. Obviously, the pandemic plays into that. And as well as just, you know, income inequality and all the things going on in the world. You know, people are really struggling out there. So I'll leave you with this. We have World AIDS Day in Eugene on December 1st. We're going to be testing from 2 to 6, HIV testing. We'll have COVID testing and vaccines from 2 to 4. We're going to partner with NAACP, Transponder, who else? Central Latino. We've got the Gay Men's Chorus. We're a dance company. There'll be like a commemoration and ceremony with the Slug Queen leading a procession, and that'll be from 6 to 7 when the entertainment is happening. So, and then we're gathering after at First National Tap House. They're doing a fundraiser for us, sponsoring us, and also doing a Pints for a Cause for us. So it'll be kind of a day of HIV activism and awareness and community building. And we would love to have you join us. Okay, that's 10 minutes. And I can email this presentation out to the drum as well for anybody who would like to have it. It does go on from there into some more specific statistics and information.